Hey guys, I'm Ben.
I'm Derek.
And this is Derek. You'll notice two things missing. First, Tommy, replaced by Derek.
I'm not.
Not Tommy. Second thing is my shelf of games. We are off site at Derek's house tonight. So we're improvising. But yeah. So Derek, tell us a little about yourself.
I've been gaming with Ben for like a couple of years or something now with our regular group. And Tommy's out of town, and so Ben, I'm his second choice apparently for
He's my fallback.
filming buddies. Which, I mean, second choice, that's better than third choice. So
It's true. It could be a lot worse.
could be one choice worse.
Yeah. So yeah, Derek gets together with us. He's part of our regular game group. So he contributes a lot to providing games, to providing feedback, and everything else. So it's nice to have his opinions and thoughts. And one of the main reasons why I've got him with me today is because he actually started becoming a critic of our channel.
I did.
He did. He started watching. It took him a while.
It did. I still forget sometimes.
But he's been shooting me a list of ideas for videos that we could do, and I thought that without Tommy it might be a good chance to bring him on and let him try his hand at helping us with one of those lists that he came up with. And the list that we are looking at today, or the video topic, is actually...
board game hosting, or hosting a board game night. This is something that's not usually covered, but it is very essential because the atmosphere and the environment you put out as a host to the game night can really set the mood and change a game night from good to best.
Yes. And if you are anything like us as board gamers, you want to share your hobby with as many people as possible. Because the more people we share it with, the more we get to play our games, right? So the idea is we want to make the gaming experiences, like Derek said, good experiences for everyone. And we were talking off camera here, and these advice and tips and tricks and stuff aren't necessarily for people that you're playing with, on an occasion already, right?
Yeah. These tips are more for maybe you have some friends coming from out of town that don't play board games much, or you got a new job and you invited some people from your new job to come and join you, or basically kind of new circumstances and to help people break into the gaming hobby. If it's just like you and a friend, obviously it's going to be a lot more relaxed than we're going to be talking about.
Or if you have a regular game group you already get together with. Yeah. So hopefully this helps you. If not, and you already know all this, great. But I thought it'd be interesting to kind of put it out there because, like Derek said, it's not really something that's covered very frequently. And we want to help everyone be included in the hobby. And if we can do that by preparing to host, then that's great. So, what we're going to do is we're going to kind of start off chronologically, if that's the proper term. That's what Derek used. So, we're going with it. So we're talking like before game night, like prepping and then following it through the conclusion of a game night.
Yeah, but there is actually, once I started thinking about it, there's a lot more prep that goes into hosting a game night than I would have thought. So I'm glad we're
hosting it properly, right?
That's true.
Anyone
Some
can
of it
host
may be common sense, but there's all types, and so hopefully you learn something from this, like Ben said.
If not, just tell us in the comments how horrible we are, and we'll move on with our life. No, please don't do that.
Please.
Derek's first video is a horrible experience. Let's avoid that. So, I think the first thing we're going to talk about is inviting people, right?
Yep, inviting people can be sometimes awkward, sometimes easy. It all depends how well you know the person. But what you want to do is you want to make it casual. You don't want to be too pushy with your invites. Because you also don't want people there that are only there to appease you or don't really want to be there. So if you have to drag someone there, it's probably better off that they're actually just not there, and you may want to find something else to do with that person.
It's sad to say that is true.
I mean, we want everyone there.
You want everyone there, but the people who don't want to be there can quickly ruin a game night for everyone else, unfortunately. Right.
Yes.
Have you had that experience? I've had that experience.
I've worried I've had that experience. They haven't came out and said that, but I've only got like one person to come after the first time. So I feel like that's not a good track record. Maybe my advice isn't so good.
This list is as much for Derek as it is for me and you. Okay, but what I like to do is, like Derek said, keep it casual. Board gaming in and of itself is kind of an awkward sell, right?
Yeah, has some stigma in some people.
Right, yeah. Most people who've been to a board game store or kind of are associated with that, they maybe don't think the highest of the hobby. They're like, oh, Monopoly. Like, I played that
Oh.
20 years ago.
I play that every Thanksgiving.
Yeah, right? Or
I
Uno.
hate it.
Like, we really need to get together for... So, like, you've got to approach the topic carefully by making it very casual and trying to tell them that this is going to be something that they're not, doing every Thanksgiving, like you said, with Aunt Joe and Uncle Jack.
This
Aunt
is
Joe.
different. Yeah, so when you invite people, you're going to want to give an overview. Hopefully, they give you the chance to do this of what the night is. So, talk about the types of games you play, and like ask them what kind of games they've played before, and don't put them off. Don't be a game snob and be like, "Oh, you've never played Space Alert, Mage Knight. You're not cool." Like, just say like, "Oh, cool, you've played Catan."
Find that common ground, yeah. Because most people have some sort of experience in the hobby.
Yeah. But if it's just not working out, don't invite them week after week. Set a limit of maybe like 2 or 3 invites, and at that limit, just give them your contact info, and just let them know if they want to come to contact you. But
Yeah.
it's one of those things again where they probably actually don't want to come. They're just trying to be nice too.
Yeah, no sense ruining a friendship over trying to get someone to game night. Like, if it makes things awkward, then just cut it there.
Yeah.
I think it's important too when you're inviting people, try and give them enough advance of an invite so they can make plans to be there, but also don't do it so far in advance that it kind of like slides between the cracks. Maybe 2 or 3 days a week tops, because you want to keep it relevant, you want to keep it important, and to me the most important thing is having a solid head count. Because if you start having people dropping in and out at the last minute, it's going to throw off plans. You're going to try and find replacement people, and then you have a weird number of people, or just you want to try and finalize who's going to be there at least a day before you actually host the event.
Yeah. Checkups or follow-ups, I guess. Very,
that's really
very
good.
important.
Yeah. So get that head count so you can start planning what games, especially once you've talked to them and established that common footing. What have they played and stuff. So you can choose games that are appropriate for the players and for the player count that you're going to have.
Yeah. All right. So now, assuming you've got a group, they're coming. They're your best friends.
If you've gotten
you're
this
doing
far,
good.
you're doing pretty good. Yeah.
This is like 90% of the difficulty of game night.
It's getting people to commit.
Yeah.
Amen.
What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to prepare your space. The most important thing you can do is clean the game area and your bathroom. Because at some point, at least one person is going to use your bathroom, and you don't want to gross. It's very important. I guarantee that's going to happen. And you're going to want to make sure you choose an appropriate table space size. Now, a lot of people live in apartments and things that are smaller, so hosting at your location may not be appropriate, I guess. And so there are many game stores that have tons of game space.
This also depends a lot on the player count, right? If you
Yeah.
have a big group, don't try and squeeze them into your, little dining room table. Like, just, call it, say, okay, we're going to find a new location. But have you seen the Shut Up and Sit Down? They sometimes show, like, their footage of them setting up for game night or whatever. At least, I think Quinn's does it quite a bit. But they have, like, this really cool, like, folding table where it, like, pulls out. But,
Very
like,
cool.
they move their coffee table, they move their couch, like, they push it all up again. There's nothing wrong with that. I never thought about doing that, but like,
Yeah,
if you
it's
need
true.
to make space, make a little space. It's just for a couple hours, and then you can just rearrange the room back to the way it was.
Yeah.
So
That's
don't let
really fun.
space be a factor in not having people over.
But if all you got is your kitchen counter, then you should probably find a different
If someone's
location.
having to stand, then you might want to reevaluate. On that topic of maybe hosting at a game store or something, other alternatives that I've looked into is like a library. A lot of times public libraries
yeah.
are open to that. They have a space for tables and stuff, and if you ask them ahead of time, they're pretty accommodating. Sometimes event centers, maybe they'll have an open space. We've done a get-together for games at, I don't think you went, but at a hotel. In one of their conference room area things, they had us after hours, and so we were able to accommodate a large group there. So there is other options, but make sure that the people that you're informing beforehand kind of know those plans.
Yeah.
Because not everyone is going to be comfortable walking into a game store where there's lots of people playing Magic the Gathering and, just kind of that type of atmosphere. So take that into consideration as you're inviting people trying to make these plans. That's why I, like I said, really want to get a good count before so you can know where you're hosting the event.
And make sure when you contact these places, you get their closing times, and you just kind of make sure, because sometimes game stores, they may be having a tournament of some kind that day,
Yes.
and you might get all your people there, and there's no tables.
That's a great point. Never just show up.
Yeah.
The game stores are super accommodating. Just give them a shout. Say, hey, I've got 6 people. We're coming in. Do you have space for us? They will let you know.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I like to go to the game stores like that because if you feel comfortable inviting the people there, because it's a good introduction to the hobby. They can see all these games and have questions, right? They're like, "Ooh, that looks cool. What's that?" You're like, "Oh, have you played Pandemic?" They're like, "Yeah." Like, this is Pandemic Legacy, and then
You can build off of
Yes.
something they know about.
exactly. So, excellent point.
Okay, and make sure you've been to the game store or location before, because you might get there and it might be smelly or dirty, the same kind of problem. So just make sure you know it's legitimate. It's a good idea. I've been to my fair share of smelly game stores, but my fair share of good ones too. They come and go.
Yeah.
Next thing, and this is a small thing, you're gonna want to be wearing appropriate dress. If it's for something like this, you're not gonna be wearing like sweats and like a hoodie. It just shows more respect and it kind of builds value in the game night if you are looking at least like, I don't know, something with sleeves, I guess, and maybe not sweats, anything else really.
V-neck, is a V-neck appropriate?
Yeah, you look appropriate.
I know I'm appropriate. Okay, good.
Depends on the model of appropriateness.
Thank you, Derek. I don't always do my hair, but try to dress appropriately for game night.
I'm sure you smell nice.
Yeah, just make sure people are comfortable. That's the main thing. Make sure people take it serious and are comfortable with the situation. Wherever you go, though, make sure beforehand you take the proper steps to eliminate distractions. It's not possible to eliminate all distractions, but I, for example, have two-year-olds, and those tend to be very large distractions. So hosting at my house, I either have to coordinate with my wife beforehand, make sure that she's got them taken care of, or that they're already in bed, or whatnot, because you want to make sure that people are comfortable. And if you're getting up to go take care of a screaming child and they're stuck sitting in your home by themselves for 5-10 minutes,
Yeah, even 5 minutes is awkward.
very awkward, especially if they're already meeting new people and they don't know everyone. So distractions, I don't know what else would be a distraction.
Pets, I guess.
Okay, maybe like a large dog that's
Yeah.
jumping on someone's lap.
Yeah.
That makes
I'm
sense.
sure you're not doing laundry or something during it. I don't think anyone does that. But
A TV in the background, maybe.
yeah, like some people like it, some people don't. Just turn it off, and if someone asks for it, I guess. But I doubt they will.
If there's like a big basketball game on, maybe I'll check the score. But yeah, having the anything that will draw players' attentions away from the table or away from the people they're trying to spend time with can be problemsome.
Speaking of like TV and stuff, music sometimes is appropriate. I like to have ambient music, kind of nerdy like that, just fantasy background music if we're playing I don't know, Gloomhaven or something. But not everyone's into that, so that's kind of personal preference. But make sure it's just not something that's lots of lyrics and heavy beats and going crazy, because that's going to be a distraction.
Yeah, and if you do, keep it at a minimum away from the table. Not something that you're constantly having to change and stuff. But yeah, if you just got some background music, I think it's a great idea to kind of set an atmosphere, especially for a very thematic game. For example, what is Space Alert without the music and the app that's calling stuff out and adding? So that's totally acceptable, I feel, in my opinion, to have that.
And next to what you're going to want to prep as well, one of the things is drinks and snacks. There's a couple options you can do.
You actually put snacks and drinks around your games?
I know this, and we're going to get more into this, but your responsibility is to make sure everyone's having a good time. And people have a better time if they have nice tummies and they're not thirsty. So
that is truth. He speaks truth, friends.
And so there's a couple options. You can either go with the non-messy situation, which is crumb
Cheetos.
snacks,
Oh.
is what I call them,
Crumb.
not Cheetos.
What is a crumb snack?
A crumb snack is a snack that only produces crumbs. So I'm talking
It's a very scientific term here, folks. Crumb snack.
crumb snacks.
With
So
a B on
mostly
the end of that. Crumb.
this is cookies and crackers.
Cookies and crackers.
Yep, and that
Okay.
if crumbs get on your game, you can blow them off. But if Cheeto dust gets on your game, it's a forever stain. So
Yes, it is.
you can do that, and drinks are just part of the risk you take. You're gonna have to provide them, and if someone spills them, that happened. Don't
It's a
get
risk
upset
you
at
run.
them. Yep.
Your friends, are they worth it?
Yeah. And so actually we're going on now. So players who spill drinks, get food stains, the real things you can do to prevent that is napkins and coasters.
Card
and
sleeves.
then-
Card sleeves.
Card sleeves. Okay.
Sleeve
Thank
everything.
you. Thank you. Sleeve everything. sleeve the box, sleeve the manual, sleeve everything.
Just shrink wrap the box before and
You
after
can all
play.
look at it while shrink wrapped.
Yes.
You can provide those, and also before you start the game, just maybe if they're not already aware, just kind of mention these games are expensive. They're not just like $5, so please respect them.
Yeah.
That's not inappropriate to do. Don't be pushy about it, but just let them know because they might not know that.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good idea, and it's something to take into consideration because people show up and they're like, "Hey, I'm hungry. Can I have something to eat?" And all you have is that bag of Cheetos.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah,
You can't say no.
Could get real awkward up in there. So yeah, take that into consideration beforehand. The next thing you need to do is remember, all this kind of for me just stems back to making people comfortable. The more comfortable people are, the more likely they're going to have a great time, and the more likely they're going to want to participate in something like this again. And that is avoiding any awkward moments. And a really awkward moment is when you pull out the game and you're setting it up, and you're flipping through a rule book, and they're asking you questions, and you're like, just a sec.
Let me check online.
Just a second, BGG knows. And they're like, what's BGG? And you're like, what was your question? Like, if you're going to invite people over and you're going to try and make it a good experience, you need to be professional enough to be prepared to teach them the rules of the game and to set it up in a timely manner. It's one thing, if someone else knows the game and they can set it up and you can carry conversation with these friends from work or from the neighborhood or whatever it is. But if you are 100% invested in setting up that game, it's going to take you a couple minutes. It can be awkward for everyone else who's having to sit around.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And so you're going to want to know these rule books inside and out for all possible games. Because you may have to switch games depending if someone drops out or someone has to leave. And you're like, oh no, my player count's different. Now I got to choose a different game. I'm not prepared to teach these games.
Yeah.
And never suggest a game that you don't know. Don't be like, do you guys want to try this new game I got earlier today?
It's so tempting though.
It is.
You
want
want to. You're like, I haven't played this game. It's new. I heard it's really good. But refrain.
Yeah,
It's more important that people have a good experience.
Yeah, it's going to be a super bad experience for everyone. You're not going to enjoy it. You're probably going to want to get rid of the game after because you have a bad experience with it. So
Just scars
be
you for
patient.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a great point.
A couple other things I like to do to familiarize myself with games is I like to quickly read through any interesting rule post on BGG for games I haven't played yet. Just because sometimes before you play a game, there's questions that you don't know you have. And I just read through them. And also there's facts in there as well, and a couple solo rounds of you controlling like 3 people just to learn the game. Obviously, it's kind of weird if you're playing a competitive game for controlling 3 people, but just to learn it, it helps to kind of get the flow down.
Yeah. And all this is made possible by knowing beforehand how many people you're having come, what game you're going to play, and whatnot. If you're waiting to the last day to try and throw everything together, you're not going to be able to do stuff like this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep, you're going to want to be prepping this, at least a day in advance, preferably a couple. But yeah, read those rule books a couple times. Get them through.
Yeah. And there's a lot of responsibility that comes with hosting, right? For one, you're probably playing your games.
Most likely.
And with people who aren't familiar with the hobby, as we talked about before, they don't know that Cheeto stains are forbidden. They play with copies of games growing up that had tears in the cards or they're all bent, and to them, that didn't ruin the enjoyment of the game at all. And so you need to know going into this that there's potential people playing your games, maybe bending your cards. Nothing worse than having a deck of cards and they overhand shuffle it and the cards are like... But that's just part of the responsibility. You have to know that may happen if you're bringing people over and playing your games. And you don't want to... it's okay to say something, but don't be that guy who makes them feel uncomfortable once again by calling them out on it, by walking them through, here's how you shuffle my deck. Just know the risk.
Yeah. This is what you signed up for when you decided to host a game night, people who don't regularly play games. But it's worth it to play your games, usually. It's better to play a game than have it sit there forever.
Yeah.
Even if it might get damaged.
That's why you purchased them.
Yes, food might get spilled, missing pieces, cards bent, all sorts of things.
I'm just cringing thinking about it, but it's worth it, folks.
Because your job as hoster is the fun facilitator. Trademark.
Fun facilitator.
So your job is to oversee that everyone's having a good time.
Derek, we're going to bring you on as our fun facilitator on our channel.
I'm the fun facilitator.
Derek is the fun facilitator.
I like that. Put me in the credits.
Okay.
So, yes, you're going to want to make sure everyone's having a good time. And a lot of things can happen to not do this. We'll talk about them more here in a minute, but you're going to want to make sure that everyone's enjoying themselves, they have some snacks and drinks, and that they are comfortable with the game, that you explain the rules well enough. Basically, yeah, it's your job to help them have fun that night.
Yeah. And if all else fails, like, just keep that in mind. If you need to stop the game, if you need to do something else, if someone's uncomfortable, the important thing is for people to have fun and be glad that they came over. It's not to make them go away knowing the ins and outs and rules of Clans of Caledonia, for example. That's not the goal of the game night.
The real goal is to get them to come back again. That is my goal.
And if that means stopping halfway through the game for some reason, it's worth it.
Yeah.
To get another game out of them, right?
Yeah, or just to get them to get into the hobby even. I guess that's a real goal, but I want them to come back again because I want to play my games more. And
Right.
chances are I'd probably like that person if I invited them over. So.
And if you don't like them after that and they keep wanting to come, you
Ooh,
might have done that to yourself.
we'll cover that in our next video.
Next week, how to get rid of people.
Yes.
How to drop subtle hints that you're no longer invited to game night.
Also, with your hosting thing, is don't be afraid to take control and command some attention because you are the person in charge. I mean, don't boast around your authority, but if people are just chatting around, sitting on your couch, and someone's just like hanging out on their phone, kind of be like, all right, guys, we're going to set up this game. You want to come over to the table? Like, that won't always happen, but feel free to step in if something like that does. Don't let them just kind of relax about because they came here to play games, and that's probably what they want to do. They're waiting for you to do something.
Yeah. Or like you're explaining the rules, and someone's like pulling out their phone or like talking like.
Yeah.
For the betterment of the group, it's more important that they hear the rule now than to be frustrated or upset halfway through the game when they're confused and not understanding, and everyone's getting frustrated with them. So take command. This is your game night. You're the host. Make sure people are paying attention and focused, and they know what it is that you expect from them as the game progresses.
And it's going to make it funner for everyone, even if you have to kind of be like, all right, guys, let's focus up, and we're going to... I'm just a quick explanation. I mean, even if it's a little uncomfortable, it is for the betterment of the whole night.
Yes.
And probably don't want to be that offended.
Yeah. So you should have this already done, hopefully. I don't know why air quotes. That's just the cool thing to do. But choosing a game. What are your thought processes when you go and you choose a game when you're teaching people new games?
Teaching people new games. When I invite them, like we covered before, we ask them kind of what games they've played before, what kind of experience they had, just real quick. You don't want to like get their history out of them. But
so,
just
when you were born,
what game were you playing? I was playing. You're going to want to kind of get a feel for their complexity level. And that's very important. And also time level as well. If they've only played Uno, they're probably not quite ready to play like a 2-hour game of Arkham Horror or something. You should probably stick to 45 minutes to an hour for new gamers.
Yeah.
But also what you're going to want to do is you're going to probably want to use tried and true games with very new gamers. Even though you really want to get those new games out that you haven't played very much, you're going to want to get a game out that you've seen work with lots of groups and is kind of old, reliable, talking Pandemic, Seven Wonders.
Gateway games.
That's a better term.
As I affectionately... He's over here describing gateway games. Games people are familiar with, tried and true.
Yeah.
Yes, gateway games. It's hard because you play these to death almost when you get into the hobby.
Yeah.
But you just need to step back and, like we said before, it's for the betterment of the group. Pull out that copy of Pandemic, pull out Sheriff of Nottingham, Resistance, whatever it may be. King of Tokyo, heaven forbid you have to play King of Tokyo. But it's worth it. They're games that people enjoy. That's why they've sold. That's why they're highly ranked on BGG. There's, just you'll get through the ages eventually.
Yeah, don't pop that out first time. No good.
No.
Hopefully they come back again, and that's when you can do that. So focus on getting them comfortable and making them happy enough to come back.
Yeah, and I would, as far as time frame goes, always shoot for the lower end because people aren't accustomed to playing long games.
Yep.
Sorry, Uno, Monopoly, all these things. Well, Monopoly is maybe an exception. can go kind of, typically go shorter, and if the games are dragging on too long, they lose attention. As what's going on, and it just falls apart. So if you need to, choose something that's shorter, and if there's extra time, play something small after. If people need to go after the first game and you have a couple people left, then you can reevaluate and play something different with those who are willing to stick around. but don't make people feel like they're stuck at your house. Like that's just the worst.
And make sure that you know ahead of time if anyone needs to leave early. Because if you start like even like a 40-minute game and someone needs to leave in like 10 minutes, that's going to hurt the whole group because you're going to have to take someone out. And usually that's kind of a hard process. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's not. But just try to avoid it if you can.
Things for us that we think are common sense, like don't start a game that you can't finish.
Yeah.
To other people, may not be common sense. They might be like, oh, I'll play half the game and then I'll go. It's still fun, right? No. No, it's not.
Maybe you never know one.
So yes, that's a very good point. Find out when people are planning on leaving so that you can plan accordingly so that does not happen.
Just to kind of touch again on problem players, really, your job is kind of customers right in most of these situations. If people are acting up, you can step in, but your job is not to kick them out and oust them from the group. You invited them, so try to be as respectful as possible. If someone's being rude to other players, definitely step in, but don't try not to make them feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, like we've said before, the betterment of the group. Don't make people uncomfortable, but if someone else is causing other people not to be comfortable, you need to address the situation so as many people can enjoy themselves as possible.
Because no one else is probably going to feel comfortable enough to step in. It's going to have to be you. So keep that in mind. And once again, card vendors, food and drink spills, that's the risk you take when you sign up. So
just suck it up and hope they offer to pay for it.
Don't get mad at them. I mean, don't yell at them. It's just something that might happen.
Yeah. And lastly, this is one of my pet peeves. When you do a game night and you have people coming, I would think that it's common courtesy for people to say, hey, I'm going to be late. Hey, this is about what time I'm going to show up. And so if it's 7 o'clock, you're playing game night at 7 o'clock, 4 of the 5 people are there, don't just assume and pull out the game and start playing it. Just find something short. Play a quick game that takes 10, 15 minutes. There's plenty of great fillers that'll hold people over. But what happens if you play that filler and they're still not there? Do you start then?
I would contact them. I would try and call them.
That's the thing. At 7, contact the person and be like, hey, where are you? We're wanting to start. Do we have time to play this 15-minute game? Because if you start a 45-minute game and they get there 5 minutes after you started, either you got to
redo the rules, or they got to wait 40 minutes.
And that's not fun for them.
Yeah.
So just be prepared to maybe stall, make sure everyone else is enjoying themselves by playing something quick, and then start whatever the main event game is as soon as you can.
Yeah, and there's so many great 15-minute and under games. So, maybe you could start 10 minutes after they're late or something, but everyone else is waiting to play a game. So, betterment of the group, start something, but not something long.
But, I don't know, and once you start playing, just have a good time. Know roughly what time people want to be done. Don't keep them out too late. Sometimes people have to get sitters to come and participate in stuff like this, and so you don't know how much they're paying or what the convenience is of their babysitter. So just be mindful. You're there to make sure everyone has a good time. It's not necessarily so you get to play your games. That's just a bonus.
Yeah, and make sure when you invite people, you tell them what time you're planning on ending so that they can plan their night. Because, like Ben said, some people do have to make a lot of preparations just to be able to come. And so you want to respect that and let them know everything they need to do and what they can plan on.
But those are kind of our tips. That's what we take going into this. We have established a game group, and so we are very proud of ourselves.
We are. This is a hard thing to do.
We try and bring new people into the hobby, and they don't do. I'm just kidding. No, we try to include people in what we enjoy, and hopefully this can help you do that as well. But if all else fails, just be willing to go out there and try and find people to play games with. It's not always feasible to be the one that's hosting. But there are always people out there looking for people who want to play games with them, who are willing to be that host. So, I don't know, check BGG. Sometimes they have groups there that, are for areas and you can find players or what's that?
Some areas, meetup.com is really useful.
That's the one I was thinking of, meetup.com. Ask your local game store, say, hey, do you guys have people come in and play games a couple nights a week? When do they come? Do you know how you can contact them? There's plenty of people to play games with, so don't get discouraged if the people you're inviting over just aren't interested. So
it's not for everyone.
No.
But we love it. So we hope this helps you find more people and helps you get people into the hobby. If not, sorry we wasted some time with this video.
At least you kind of learned something. I don't know. Anyways, tell us in the comments below what your tips and tricks for getting people to have fun at game nights are. Tell us what we could do better when we host game nights. If you have questions, we will try and answer them. I'm sure Tommy will chime in as well, because he'll be jealous he wasn't here. Sorry, Tommy. But
Don't tell Tommy we did this.
don't tell Tommy. I'll edit this. Don't worry, Tommy. No, just kidding. Tommy will see it. Anyways, thanks for watching, and if you liked Derek's contribution, our fun facilitator over here, let us know and maybe we'll try and get him back for another segment or two. Anyways, I'm Ben.
Derek.
See ya.